So what we're doing now is that we're going to set up an animation for use in After Effects for um, basically linking and puppeting um, within our animation. So what I have here is that I have a figure from a Balinese animation. I'm Balinese puppet, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut it apart into probably about 3 layers each arm. The head, the body, so that's 8 layers. I'm going to try to do something with the legs. It's going to be sort of difficult because you can see it's all moving together here. What I might try doing is I might try puppeting that. I might try pinning that. That'll actually be good because you'll see both things happening within one character animation. So let's get started. You can see that I'm using the old project file from the first one. And actually, what I'll do eventually is I'll get rid of the ground layer, and because we're not going to need it. First thing that we want to do is that I'm going to zoom in here. The first thing we want to do is that we want to make sure we have good joints, right? So basically, these things should have almost, if you laid them on top of each other and did a difference in, you should have like almost a circle. Because if I had you do this the old way with cutouts, you'd have to have a place where you'd have to put the pin through, and that's exactly what we're doing in After Effects. So this isn't that hard. It's just a little bit weird. So let's take this layer 1. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go and I'm going to take each arm off, and then I'm going to progressively work to take the arms apart. So what I'll do here is that I've got this layer 1, which I'm just going to call figure, which actually we'll get rid of in the end. So I'm going to go here, and being that I'm doing this with the mouse, it's going to be kind of hard, but okay. And I'm going to try to do that a little bit better. Come up here from the underarm. Okay, that should work. And by the way, everything else in this file except for the black is all transparent. So that should be fine. Okay, I've got this selected. And take a look at that. So, not too bad. It'll work. Now, what do we do with the figure? Actually, what I might do is I might try doing an ellipse. Right? And then I'll just come back here, do a shift, and then just add everything here in the selection. Add this, add this, add this. And then I'll just add the rest of the body. And okay, that's cool. So what I'll do is that then I'll select, do an inverse. You do Shift Command I to do the hotkey. But so I've got everything else except for this selected, I think. And see? There we go. So now what we have is we have an arm, and then we'll be able to turn that, no problem. And then the next thing we want to do is that I'm just going to say, I'm going to call this upper arm left. I'll call it left. And then what we'll wind up doing is that we'll take this upper arm and we'll, I think I really like using this ellipse thing to create a place where I can make a ball joint, you know? So, oops, I deselected that. I'll reselect that, and then I'll just do a shift, lasso, to get this part of the arm. Right? Look at that. That's great. Okay. I can pop that in. And by the way, notice what I just did. So I can get an idea for, I'll call this left lower arm. I just inverted this because it's not totally black. I just inverted this so that I can get an idea for how to cut the rest of this out. So what I'll do is that I'll just make a nice circle about the size I need it. Put it right over that. And then I'll do a shift, lasso, and actually I'll just invert the select, and then I'll just cut that out. So, and then I'll just take the lower arm, I'll invert it. Oops. I need to deselect. And okay, so we've got the left lower arm, left or upper arm. So there we go. Just snaps right into place. And actually, if you're working really cleanly like this, I don't mind if there's like a little line. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So okay. Let's get this hand off. And the other thing that I might do is that I may actually flip the hands. So that'll be if we separate the hands properly, we should be able to do that with no problem. So let's go down in here. Let's go close. I've got the left lower arm. And let me just make kind of a ball area that's going to, I'll just nudge this in place with the arrow keys, and then I'll just select the rest of this. And I'll Copy and paste it. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then invert this, get it lined up, and then I'll go back here to the left lower arm, right? So what we need to do is we need to cut off the hand. So what I need to do is I need to make another nice circle down here. And make it just as big as I need it. Okay. And then I'll just, I just deselected this. I'll do a shift lasso. And just select the rest of the arm. Select invert. And make sure I've got left lower arm. You know what? Okay. I need to invert the selection. For some odd reason, the hotkey isn't working, so I'll just invert the selection this way. And deselect. Let's move the hand to show you what's going on. So you can see here that this is all been separated just fine. I'm going to call this left hand. The other thing that I'm going to do now is that I'm going to invert it again, and there's a reason why I want to do this, is that, but see, the thing is that my joints are nice and symmetrical, and they fit just fine. So guess what? I was just able to flip the hand. That's not a problem. So let's take the head off. That sounded really bad. No, we're not homicidal maniacs here. So we're just going to separate the head. Yeah, I don't think this is going to sound good any way it goes. So what we're going to do is that we're going to make sure that the head is a piece in itself and can work on its own. So basically same thing, except in our case, you can kind of see where the neck, kind of like there's kind of a neck kind of hole thing. I'm going to use that kind of as a basis for the joint. Actually, I want it to be cleaner than that. I want it to be from here, at least to here, and then I'm going to take this section here and okay, I'll move this into place. That's not exactly what I want. Let's see. Maybe I should move these guides into place to give me some ways for me to get this circle lined up properly. So I can take this and it'll just snap here. Into place. And then all I need to do then is just do a shift. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because there's just some things that I really want. Okay. Right. And I'll just come up here and just bring in a lot of, just do some more lassoing. More lassoing. And okay, it looks, oh, you know what? I'm missing a little bit of the head here. So, all right. I think that's all set. So what I'll do is that make sure that I've got the figure selected. And look at that. That's great. So that's just in place. And then actually I'll do just like I've done with everything else. I'll just invert it since it's not completely black. Move it into place. And so on the figure, what I will do is that since this is going to be kind of special, being that this headdress is going to come in and out, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to just make a gentle curve up and then what I'll do is that then I'll just go to view, make it fit on the screen, and then I'll just select the rest of the body here. So consider that what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be pinning and puppeting the feet. So I won't need to cut apart the legs. And I've got the figure selected. And then what I'll do is I'll just deselect everything and call layer 1 the head. And invert it. So just to do a little review, right? So we've got everything separated except for the right arm. So let's get that done, and then we'll bring this into After Effects. I'll select the figure. And then we'll just do what we did before. We'll just make a nice circle for the joint. And then select the rest of the arm. Shift lasso. And then copy paste. So, and let's call that right upper arm. Also, let's put this back in place, invert it so that we can get an idea of what we've got here. Actually, it snaps in place. That's really nice. Okay, so let's go back to the figure. And let's make the joint for the shoulder. And okay, that should work. And all I need to do now is I just need to just do a shift lasso. Actually, I'm also going to do a, because remember, I didn't want to select any of this arm. So I just did an undo. And remember, even though we've got this, the layers with the arm, remember they have really nothing to do with what we're doing here. Sorry about that. Okay. And then all we need to do is just get the rest of this body out. You know, as they say, life happens. Okay. And then just cut out these feet. Remember that the even though the ground is here, it's on a different layer. So, okay, got this all cut out. Let's invert this, and I'm just going to show you that this get cut. There you go. So guess what? We're all set to go. So let's finish up this arm. Right upper arm. Okay. Joint looks like it's about here. So let's go and make a nice circle. Around here. And remember, when you made that selection, you know, you can move it in place. So, just as we're doing with all these other things, we've got the right upper arm selected, and just lasso that around, and that's actually the right upper arm. I'm going to call this the right lower arm. So for the right upper arm, I'm just going to move it back in place. So we can actually get that joint cut out. So want to make sure that it's just perfectly in place. Let's select the right lower arm again. And okay, wow, that's almost perfect. So right lower arm. And that looks pretty good. So I'll just go and invert the selection so we cut out all this stuff up here. And I'll just invert the right upper arm, and you can see what's happening here, right? So remember, what I want to do is I want to cut off the right hand. So I'll go to right lower arm. And this file will be as with all the Photoshop files that I'm going to make my stuff with. I'm going to have everything up online so you can see how I constructed everything. And this might be a little bit harder, but okay. That'll work. So I'll just select the rest of this hand, and I'll just copy and paste it. See? Perfect. I'll invert it, snap it back into place, and then I'll just call this right hand. And then I'll take this right lower arm again. And let's make another nice circular ball joint. And then, see, this just gets really easy. Actually, if I wanted to get super easy, I just line it up with the middle and just take that. Just do a rectangular marquee through the center of my ball joint. And then I'll just invert it. And then let's just take the right hand. Let's also put this in a proper hierarchy. So, okay. So at this point, let's go back and take a look at the whole thing. Fit on the screen. So now we have our figure, and I'm going to turn off everything except for the background. I'll turn on the background just to make it look a little better. But see how it's completely taken apart? I'll take the head off. And so actually, why didn't I take the legs off? Mainly because of the fact that you know what? I'm looking at this. I'm thinking that this isn't going to puppet very well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the left leg off so it can sit on top, and I'm going to rework it a little bit, and then I'm going to take I'm going to kind of like fill the stuff underneath. This is going to be some advanced stuff, and then I'm going to take the right foot and I'm going to leave it there so I can puppet it. Mainly because of the fact that this is all one piece, and this is going to just distort really, really bad. So let me just get that. Let me just get that done. And this is probably. Oh, wait a second. Let me just get to the figure. Can I magic wand this? Nope, I can't magic wand this. I have to do this by hand. Oh, great. Okay. I'll zoom in on this more. And actually what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, just to make this look a little bit cleaner, I'm just going to clean this, get this stuff out in between the toes and the foot. This is pretty advanced stuff. Okay. So I hope you can see what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take, I'm going to cut out this leg. Let's see. And believe it or not, I'm holding my breath. When I'm doing this fine mouse work. If I hold my breath when I'm using the mouse, when I'm doing very fine stuff, I can almost go as finely as with a tablet and stylus. So I'm going to see how this works. I think I'm going to try to make this into a little bit of a joint. What I'll do is that I may puppet this leg, but I'll just leave it on top. And it's mainly because I have all this complex artwork on there. And I'll just invert this, I'll put it in place. And I'm going to do something fairly complex. I'm going to try to use I'll hide this leg, and then I'm going to cut this area out. Actually, I'm going to cut this foot off. I'll collar back. Oops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to cut this foot off. And as I said, if you're just interested in how to get this thing back over into the over into After Effects, you probably can just stop watching at this point. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to make this leg look as if there's something underneath it. And And I'll use what they call a, let's see here, I'll cut and, nope, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a context-sensitive fill. Content-aware fill. And okay, let's see if this works. Nope. What I'll try to do then is I'll try to use a clone stamp and do Command. I'm going to do Alt, pick that here, and just deselect everything. I'm not entirely sure why things aren't working here. Okay, you know what? I know exactly what the problem is. Is that because what I'm doing is that I'm painting with transparency. So, what I should do then is that I should cut this leg area out. And then hopefully I'll be able to work with this transparency thing a bit more. Okay, let's see if this works. Yep, that'll be fine. Look at that, that's great. So I'm not looking for anything that's really that perfect. I'm just trying to find something that makes it look like there's just something there, you know? So that's just not so obvious. Okay, I'll take it. That's okay. All right, so let's turn on layer 1 and invert it. And you know what? That's not too bad. So I think this will be all right. So this now is my character for my animation. And let me turn everything on. And then I'll do one more tutorial with my birds, and then we'll bring these we'll bring these into After Effects, and then we'll start animating. So that's that. And okay, that's tutorial number 2.